is this on?
Hello, welcome back. I have a box of new makeup launches and my plan is I'm going to test these and then I'm going to rank them of my least favourite to my favourite. And there is a mixture of drugstore and high-end stuff, so I'm interested to see who's going to come out on top. And if you like this kind of video, give this a thumbs up, subscribe, because I make these videos quite often. Well, this is the first time I've ranked them, but you know, I test stuff all the time. Also, I'd be very curious if anyone else has tried these, where would you put them in your ranking? And today's video is sponsored once again by Dermatica. These are some of my favourite people to work with. I've used Dermatica's personalised skincare service for literal years, and I do have a discount code. One sec, let me just zoom you in a bit. My discount code is SOPH50 and it gets you 50% off your first 3 months. If you wanted to try this, it's usually $24.99, so obviously that saves you a bit of money. So maybe if you've tried loads of different skincare products and you can't find something that's working for you in your skin, or if you just want to have access to ingredients that are stronger than your regular kind of over-the-counter things, Dermatica can use ingredients that are 20 times stronger than your average retinol that you can just buy, which is personally one of the reasons that I love it. Obviously at the moment with me being pregnant, I've had to switch up my formula and I'm not using those strong actives at the moment. But that being said, when I found out that I was pregnant, I obviously messaged them straight away and was like, hey, can we switch up my formula because I'm pregnant and I'm planning to breastfeed? What can I use? And they adapted my formula so it is specific to me and my skin and I can still use it while I'm pregnant, because you do have that 24/7 access to their dermatology experts. So you can just drop them a message if you have any concerns about anything with your formula and you want to switch it up slightly. And if you've never used Dermatica before, you go over to their website, you fill out a little kind of consultation form with your skin concerns, and they can help with a whole range of different skin concerns like acne, melasma, rosacea, fine lines and wrinkles, pigmentation, many different things. I'd suggest you go over and have a look. They also have some amazing before and afters on the website. I'll put some of my own before and afters on the screen. But their dermatology team will assess you and your skin and the pictures of your skin and your skin concerns, and they put together a little bottle which is your personalised formula. You want to make sure you're using it in the evening. You literally just take one pump, put it over your face. You can use a more kind of gentle moisturizer with it, but if you have any issues at all, obviously you can speak to their team, they can help you out. So my code is SO50. I will leave it on the screen, I will leave it down below, and thank you Dermatica for sponsoring me again. The first thing that I'm going to test, and no, this is not a repeat video, I did try this in one of my previous videos of me testing some drugstore makeup, but this is the L'Oreal Skin Ink Found Sealer. It's supposed to be like a foundation slash skin tint and concealer. I tried it as my concealer, but it just didn't really work very well for me as concealer. It's a very interesting formula. So you shake it and it's very liquidy, but then I went onto TikTok and I'd seen people mostly using this as a skin tint. So I'm going to try it all over my face as a skin tint type thing and see if I get on any better with it. I'm not fake tanned currently, so I'm probably going to have to bring some of this down my neck. This is the shade 40 Warm, so I guess I just apply everywhere. Oh god, I don't know how long it's going to take to dry. If this is actually the case and it's supposed to be used as a skin tint or foundation, they should have made the bottle a bit bigger maybe. So, oh my god, yeah, it's already drying. Oh no. Blending that all over. Yeah, okay, note to self, this dries very fast, so maybe just apply it one section at a time. Interesting. So far, I'm liking this a lot more all over my face. I kind of wished I'd used a glowier primer. What I did to prime my face today, I used some of the Charlotte Tilbury water cream and then I used the Bioma SPF and I kind of just left it as that. Maybe I should have gone in with an actual primer. I only say that because it's looking a little bit dry around my nose. However, on the rest of my face, it is such a thin consistency that it doesn't even look like I'm wearing makeup. It looks like my actual skin. Do you see on my forehead how that is pretty much undetectable? It actually does not look like I'm wearing makeup on my forehead. The only place you can actually tell that I'm wearing something is around the sides of my nose, where you can see like a little bit of dryness. But like, look at my forehead, that looks so good. Okay. Somebody commented on my previous video saying whenever you turn the brightness down when you get close to the camera, why don't you just film the whole video like that, because then we can get a better view of the makeup. But looking in the viewfinder, this just looks so dark to me. Like the whole general vibes, it just looks like I'm filming on a really gloomy dark day. It's actually like me changing the settings on my camera, but I say like I'm turning the brightness down. I don't know, is this too dark? Can you let me know? Would you prefer me to film like this the whole time? Because it just looks so dingy and like dull to me. Please let me know. I'm just gonna bring some of that down my neck. You know what? I think this is supposed to kind of dry down and be transfer proof. So if that's the case, maybe this will be really good for my neck. I'm just gonna see if I can kind of build it up at all. I would definitely say it's a matte formula. It kind of sets and dries down. So if you've got like dry, flaky skin, I really don't think you'll get on well with this at all. But correct me if I'm wrong if you've tried this. I just don't think it would really work out that great for that. It has added a little bit of extra coverage, but I think I would still go in with another concealer. But then if that's what it's supposed to be, I just wish it was in a bigger bottle and had an applicator where I don't have to dip in like 5 times to do my whole face. Do you know what I mean? Switching my camera back to its regular settings in 3, 2, let me know which you prefer. I'm just gonna add a little bit of regular concealer. This is the Collection Ultra Cover Concealer in the shade 4W. I don't think the formula of this concealer likes the skin tint very much. This was the problem that I was having last time putting stuff over the top of it. Like it just went a bit weird. You know what I've really been enjoying recently? Using a brush, like a fluffy eyeshadow brush to blend in my concealer. I'm using some of my Too Faced concealer, but my concealer is just not sitting well over the top of this. I don't have a bronzer to test, so I'm just going to use the e.l.f. one. New Sabrina Carpenter album, by the way, coming in August. Her previous album was literally last August. It's not even been a year yet. She is putting out the music fast. Okay, well my cream bronzer's gone on fine, so that's good. Product number 2 is the Say Dew Blush Liquid Cheek Flush, and I'm going to use the shade Cutie, and I really like the Say bronzer, so I'm hoping that I'm going to like the blush just as much. It has a really big doe foot applicator. I don't know, it's weird. It looks like a whipped sort of matte mousse formula. So I don't understand how this is supposed to be dewy, but I guess we're about to find out. Okay, so far it's blending out very similar to the liquid bronzer in that it blends out sheerer than it kind of applies. Is it dewy though? I don't know. I mean, it looks very natural and it's actually working nicely. I'm just going to put some on my hand to sort of test the formula. It's got like a ever so slight natural sort of radiance to it. I thought for a sec that it was more matte, but it's definitely got a very slight sheen to it. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's dewy. I would say it's more of like a natural sort of satiny finish. You know what, I'm just going to take some on the back of my hand and then onto my brush and then top up this side. I mean, yeah, it looks really lovely and it's blended nicely with the rest of my makeup, which is great because I was a little bit worried for a sec that nothing was going to sit nicely on top of this skin tint stuff, but no, I actually think that looks nice. I do like that. I would definitely use that again. The next thing that I've got to test, I probably should not have just flipped that through the air upside down when I've already taken the sticker off. This is the Made by Mitchell Baked powder. I got this off of TikTok shop on the day that it launched, and I was also enticed because they had loads of other deals. I think I got a free comic case. What I actually ordered was the powder and then this the curve case pressed, which quite a few people have asked me to test for a while because I'm a big fan of the original curve case. Wait, I think I've got it in front of me. This is the Made by Mitchell curve case, which I absolutely love. I have got the shade Light and it just comes with cream bronzers and cream blushes, and this is supposed to be the pressed powder version. And then yeah, I got a free comic case, but obviously I've just put on a blush, so I'll have to save that for another video. Maybe I'll do like a short on this one or something. But yeah, I got the powder, which I'm very excited about. I will say I have used it already. I was gonna say love the packaging, however I've realized since using this a couple of times it does come with its own powder puff in there. And then hang on, I never took the sticker off the mirror. The only thing is, right, because it's a lid that's actually attached and I don't think you can get the lid off, I was then kind of like, well wait, how do I then get the powder back in here without making a mess? Because when the lids unscrew on a powder, I will usually like tip up the powder into the lid. It does have a little button to release it like that, and it's cool that it has a mirror and it's cool that it comes with the powder puff, so I'm not complaining about that, but it's just kind of like you kind of have to tip it upside down and then it gets on the mirror and I don't know where else you're supposed to put it. Am I being dumb? Like, is there somewhere else I'm supposed to put this? Am I supposed to like tap it onto the back of my hand or something, or like onto a palette? I don't know. I'm gonna use the powder puff that comes with this and I went for the shade On the Loaf. Let me just reblend these creases under my eyes. My dark circles under my eyes are not great at the moment. I'm currently iron deficient. I am taking supplements, but I really think it's like sucked the life out of my under eyes, so that's good. If we compare one side to the other, that is so smooth feeling. It feels lovely and smooth. But then yeah, now I'm like, I need a bit more powder. What do? Do I just do this? But then yeah, it gets all over the mirror. I don't know. Great colour match, and I think that this will be a good colour whether I'm tanned or whether I am pale, because it doesn't seem too colourful. Colourful is not the right word. Pigmented. Like, it definitely does add a little bit of pigment and a little bit of coverage, but the more you kind of tap it out, can you see that sort of disappears? But it still adds a little bit of brightness, I think. It feels really smooth. I've not done a flashback test yet, so I'm very curious about that. So far I really like it. I think I paid £13 for it. I've not put much on my head because I feel like my head was already pretty matte. So far I like it. The only thing that I don't like is just that you can't unscrew the lid and that it goes onto the mirror, because I can't really, like, you know, tap that, because then that all falls into my hand. And then now it's on the rims of the lid. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just my feedback. I'm just going to add my powder, bronzer and blush and stuff, and then I will do a flashback test. The Curve Case pressed, they're all matte shades. I don't know why I expected them to be shimmery, because the original Curve Case is not shimmery anyway. They've done a pretty good job at matching those shades. So this is the cream version, and then this is the pressed version. I think these ones are just a tiny little bit darker, like the blushes look a little bit darker. I'm a little bit worried about how pigmented these are gonna be. I'm gonna actually try the very lightest bronzer first, and I'm scared. I don't tend to use the very lightest bronzer in the cream version. Let's actually take this one. Is that gonna be a mistake? Okay, yeah, that looks like it's, I mean, not that you can really see it. I'm just wiping off the excess on my hand. I'm a little bit scared by this, to be honest. Let's go back to the lighter one. Generally, I don't tend to go for a matte, like super matte bronzer. I prefer my bronzers to have a little bit of shimmer in them. Same with my blushes, actually. Okay, it is definitely building, but I'm just taking the smallest amount. Okay, that's probably enough bronzer. But what I'm really curious about is the lighter shade, like this one and this one, as nose contour. So I'm gonna go with the very lighter shade first, and I'm just gonna bring that down my nose. I mean, yeah, that's a really good colour for the nose because it's not too dark. I just used that one there. Normally I would use this one, which I think is hollow there, but the hollow there in this pan looks a little bit darker than the cream version. I'm not too crazy about the bronzers on the rest of my face, only because, okay, two reasons. One, they're completely matte, and I generally prefer my bronzers to have a little bit of shimmer in them for the rest of my face. And two, because my bronzer brush is quite big, I like a quick, easy bronzer that I can just sort of dip into, tap off the excess, and then just do a bit of this. But because the pans are quite small, my brush is too big to get in there. And maybe that's a me thing and I need to get a smaller brush, but this is just the brush that I like to use. By the way, this is the Vive powder and bronze brush. Really needs a wash, but is what it is. What I am going to do is test the blushes. So the one that I use most in the Curve Case cream version is this one, which is called Coral. Wow, yeah, it picks up quite a lot. Can you see that on the end of my brush? Let's tap off the excess. And then... oh, that's really pretty. I think it would probably be better suited if you were a makeup artist. I mean, I use most of the colours in the cream Curve Case, but with this one, I just can't see myself reaching for it as much, but that's more of like a personal preference thing because I don't tend to go for matte shades as often. Also, I'm not crazy about these two, like those aren't really my vibe. If you think that you would use all of the colours, or maybe, you know, if you don't have much makeup and you're trying to expand your collection and you want to try some new shades, then something like this is really good. Or again, obviously, if you're a makeup artist. I mean, that blush colour is lovely. I really like that. But it is matte, so I would then go in with a highlighter afterwards. Those are my honest thoughts. I prefer the cream one for sure, and I think I would use the cream one more still. The powder's all coming out the crack in the back of this from where I had closed the lid, with the powder falling down the gap. So far my ranking, but it might change. I'm gonna lay them all out in front of me. Number 1, the powder. Number 2, the blush. Number 3, the L'Oreal thing. And number 4, the Curve Case pressed. I'm adding another product into the mix. This is the REM Beauty new highlighter serum. This is the shade Aura. And oh my goodness, I made a video talking about the Galinda Glow Drops, which by the way, they have relaunched in this kind of packaging and it's got a new name, but it's like the pinky version of this highlighting liquid stuff. I definitely posted it on my Instagram and my TikTok saying that it was such an underrated product, and I have never been a person to like liquid highlighter, but that is like game changing and I love it. Ariana Grande liked my Instagram post of me talking about that highlighter. I was fangirling so much. Within like a few minutes of me posting the video, her makeup artist commented on it with a bunch of like sparkle emojis, and I was like, oh, I don't think her makeup artist follows me. I didn't tag him in the video. Maybe he does follow me, I don't know. I don't think he does. But anyway, he found the video somehow. Maybe it had just come up on his For You page or something. And then literally maybe like 10-20 minutes later, Ariana Grande liked my video. And again, she doesn't follow me. So I was like, did her makeup artist see the video and like send it to her or something. I don't know. How did she find it? How did she find me? I don't know, but either way, I was fangirling a lot. I've been a fan of her for years, so I was very excited by that. This is the shade Aura, and because I love the Galinda Glow Drop so much, the pinky version, I'm gonna give this one a try because we need some glow. So this can be used like mixed with your foundation. You can use it under your foundation as a serum, and you can then use it like I did over the top of my makeup. Whoa. Don't know how I feel about that colour, I will not lie to you. It's kind of like purpley blue on my hand. I'm not sure I'm gonna love that. I'm gonna try it anyway. So what I'm gonna do is just take some on my sponge and I'm just gonna dab this. Okay, wait, I think I've just eaten my words. I think I've just eaten my words. Like, you're seeing that, right? Did go a bit too far under my eye, but that's fine. I have always been a hater of liquid and cream highlighters because they've separated my makeup and they just like look ugly and they look like they're sat on top of your skin, make your foundation look cakey and weird. I don't know what it is about this one. I don't know if it's because it's supposed to be like a highlighter and kind of serum hybrid. Whatever they have put in this stuff, it just gives the most natural radiance, but it actually... This does to my skin, I guess, what a lot of glowy setting mists can do to your skin, but it does feel slightly sticky on my face. Now that it's kind of dried down a little bit, it's not as wet looking and glowy as when I first put it on. And I will say, this one doesn't have the same amount of shimmer in it as the Galinda Glow Drops do. That one comes across a little bit more, not metallic at all, because it's still like a wet look glow, but I guess the pinkier rose gold version is a little bit more intense. This one is more on the natural side, but how stunning has that just made my skin look? Bearing in mind my face was completely matte and looking a bit like flat, this has made my skin look hydrated and healthy again. So cool. But then if you look at my foundation close up, can you see how it's just not separated my foundation? It just sort of almost melted in with it. I still prefer the Galinda Glow Drops and I would pick that shade over this one. But the formula, so stunning. I'm gonna do a flashback test. I'll be right back. God, there is nothing more humbling than a flashback test. Pretty good. Okay, actually, the exposure on my screen, that's making it look really like there is flashback. But no. From what I can tell, there is not flashback with this powder. It does look a little bit bright in the areas where I've put it and like down the sides of my nose, but I don't think that's flashback. I think I've just put on a little bit too much. Yeah, my base is looking quite dry, like around my mouth and around the sides of my nose, and I think that's from the skin tint stuff. I need to actually put something on my lips because they're starting to get dry. Yeah, I don't know why they're extra dry today. I'm just gonna quickly do my eyebrows. Next up, I have got the REM Beauty new liquid eyeshadows. I was not a fan of their original liquid eyeshadow formulas. I tried them when they first launched and I tried them in the Wicked collection and I just didn't get on with them. I found that they went a bit patchy, they didn't blend that great, they would crease on me, like I just couldn't get on with them. To be fair, I'm not a big liquid eyeshadow kind of person. Who knows, maybe in another few years time I will be. But I think for a couple reasons. One, I have very oily eyelids, like around my eyes tends to get very oily, and so I've always found that most of them will kind of crease on me. And two, I don't know, I just find that the formulas that I've tried will just bunch up quite a bit. That being said, I have higher hopes for these ones and I was sent them and I swatched a few shades and they look really lovely. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch a tutorial on how best to use these because I don't want to mess it up and I want to give it my best shot. They also look a bit chunky in the videos on the REM Beauty Instagram page. Some people blend them out with their fingers, some people blend it out with a brush. I'm gonna try a couple of shades and I'm gonna try a couple of applications just so that I literally cannot get this wrong. I'm gonna take the shades Fembot and Horoscope because those are the two that I've seen the people use the most. First, let's try Fembot because this is like the lighter shade, and if I just give it a swatch, I mean it looks pretty. I'm actually going to take some of that straight off the back of my hand onto my finger and I'm just going to tap that onto my eyelid. Another thing that I forgot to say is that with a lot of liquid eyeshadows, people will say, oh, just put them on a bare eyelid. You don't want concealer underneath. I have very veiny eyelids. I can't not have some kind of eyeshadow base down or like concealer underneath. So I'm just gently tapping that over my lid. I can feel it kind of drying down, so I'm just gonna lightly tap it sort of as it dries. I mean, that one's more of just like a wash. It does look a bit patchy, doesn't it? Let's see, maybe if I leave that first layer to dry and then go in with a second layer like that. That looks so pretty, right? But I can't just leave it like that because that's like a full thick wet layer. So I'm just gonna gently, can you see it's kind of going a bit patchy? And I'm going to try this as well with this same shade. Let's use my other eye. I'm going to take some on the back of my hand and then I'm going to take a fluffy brush. This is what I would do with, for example, the Made by Mitchell. What's that really popular shade that he's got called? Drip Drip. Sometimes with Drip Drip, I would take some on a fluffy brush and literally just apply the smallest amount onto my lid just to give a kind of like sparkly effect, but without it being too thick. Okay, no, that has not worked for that one really at all. I mean, that kind of looks better. What if I then try and blend the edges? Okay, no, the edges do not want to be blended. And that's still looking a little bit patchy. God damn it. But like, when I blend it out on my hand, it looks really pretty and it's like this natural shimmer, but on my eyelid, it just doesn't want to do that. Let's try the other shade, Horoscope, and I'm gonna paint some on. Yeah, this one seems less sheer. That's more like it. That is more like it. And then I'm just very quickly going to take a fluffy brush and kind of blend the edges and I guess like pat over that. Thing is, right, when I'm doing my eyeshadow, I want it to be quick. I want it to be easy. I don't want to be sat here trying to make it work for ages. I want to just use something that just works right off the bat. I mean, that one's worked better, however, still not the greatest. Let's try the technique of putting some on the back of my hand. They seem to look a lot better when they're more sheer. Part of me wonders if I just like tap a little bit over my lid, will it give a subtle kind of glittery effect? Oh, kinda actually. Okay, that's kind of seems to be the best way of using it so far. Put it on the back of my hand and just add a very, very, very sheer layer over the top. But then that did remove what I'd done underneath. It's so annoying though, because on my hand, like, it looks really pretty and it's like this nice sparkly sheer glitter. So that was experiment number 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then this was experiment number 2. I mean, actually on camera they look quite nice. I just don't know if you can see, like, it's a little bit chunky and it's a little bit patchy. They're just a little bit tricky to work with. At least this formula does not seem to be as flaky as the previous formula of these. Can you see, like, with this one already, it just looks a little bit patchy. I do wonder if I take a regular eyeshadow. Maybe even if I take the bronzer. Let's take a bronzer from here. Add a little bit of bronziness around it. Maybe I could get away with this if I just sort of tapped it in the center of my eye on top of a previous eyeshadow look. So like if I've already done a little bit of bronzer. Honestly though, on camera, it looks better than in person. And I think on an iPhone camera, for example, it's not going to pick up on as much as the texture, so it would probably look nice in Instagrams. And I'm sure, like, if I film a TikTok after this, people are going to probably comment being like, oh my god, what's your eyeshadow? I can definitely see a formula improvement compared to the previous liquid eyeshadows, because those ones would literally like flake off, as in when I blinked, chunks of them would fall off my face. Most of that's now gone. What I'm going to do is just take a tiny little bit of Horoscope on the back of my hand. I'm going to really like sheer it out, almost like blend it into my finger, and then tap a bit of that over the top for a little bit of like a glitter wash. I would say if you've bought these and if you're struggling to make them work, this is maybe the best method of application, is do some powder eyeshadow and then just really sheer out the liquid eyeshadow on the back of your hand and pick up the tiniest amount and just put a very light layer on the eyelid. Okay, that actually looks pretty. It took me about 5 tries to get here, but that I can get on board with. That's just given me this fine glittery wash over my lids, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with that. It looks nicer on my hand though. Do you see this? It looks so pretty and like sparkly on my hand. But they do definitely dry down, like on my hand now. That feels like it's not really going anywhere. Loved the highlighter, but these liquid eyeshadows are going at the bottom of my ranking, unfortunately. Before I do my mascara, I'm going to test a new setting spray, and this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Long Lasting Setting Spray with hyaluronic acid and watermelon fruit extract. Oh, it's pink! I love the original All Nighter. It is one of my ride or die setting sprays. It does such a good job. But this is a new one, hyaluronic acid. So I'm guessing it's going to maybe feel a bit more hydrating than the original. Oh, but I need to do my test. We've got a decent swatch of bronzer there. And then I'm going to give it a spritz. Leave that to dry. Oh, it kind of smells a little bit. I was worried that it might smell a bit too watermelon-y. I don't think it really does smell of watermelon. It smells more like cucumber. It smells quite fresh though. While we wait for that to dry. This is my skin before. You know what? It doesn't smell of watermelon. I thought it would. I'm not the biggest fan of artificial watermelon. Real watermelon, love. Oh, that felt really nice and refreshing. Oh, are we seeing this? My favourite of the Urban Decay All Nighter setting sprays is actually the glow one. The one that's in like the lilac tube as opposed to the dark purple. That one gives some glow to your skin, but oh my goodness. So does this one. Oh, what? Wow, okay. I think it's actually dried, but look at my forehead. Why has that kind of done what the liquid highlighter did, but just all over my face? That has given such a glow. Huh. Wow, my skin looks great. Sorry, I just yelled that into the mic. My skin looks really good. It looks so much more hydrated. Okay, it feels a tiny bit sticky, I won't lie. And it almost feels like there's a sticky film on my hand. Oh my goodness, if you're looking for a setting spray that's gonna make your skin look more glowy and healthy. All right. And it does feel very sticky. How interesting. Do we reckon that's dry? I feel like that's fully dry. Let's see. Oh, Urban Decay, you never let me down. If you don't like that slight tacky feeling on your face, maybe you won't be a fan of that, but that is not budging. Maybe this will be my new favourite setting mist. I'm really impressed. It reminds me a lot of the glowy one. Only thing is my eyelids feel a bit sticky now. Slight negative. Loses 1 point for that. Where is this gonna go on the scale? You know what, guys? That's gone at number 2. Second to last, we have got the Maybelline Colossal Bubble Mascara. A lot of people have been asking me to test this because I love most of Maybelline's mascaras. My thoughts are, I first got this to test out just before me and James went on our baby moon, and I got the original one, like not the waterproof one, and I brought it with me on holiday. This is what the brush looks like. When I first put this on, I was like, oh wow, this is another good one. I was so excited because I love discovering new mascaras that work really well. It does a really good job at like gripping all of your lashes and really like keeping them in the brush as you're applying the product. So it does a really good job at adding volume. Like on first coat, it looks pretty natural, but then it dries quite fast. And that when you add a second coat, you can really build upon it. I'd say compared to the Sky High, it gives more of like a wispy lash, but with more volume at the root. So I'm just gonna build it to show you what I mean. See what I mean? It almost gives like fluttery lashes. However, I'm sure you can all guess where the catch is going. Put it on holiday, was like, yes, love it, looks so good. And then we got to the end of the day and it smudged on me. And by that, I mean with some mascaras, I find, because like I said, I get quite oily eyelids, and also throughout the day I get oily like round here, and some of those oils, I guess, work their way up towards my lower lashes. And when I say mascara smudges on me, I don't mean I smudge it while I'm applying it. I mean throughout the day it will start to like transfer, and I'll get little like black dots under my eyes, and also up here I'll get like little stripes where my lashes have been hitting my brow bone and the mascara has reacted with the oils around my eyes and it's transferred onto my skin. I'm actually going to make a whole like short about this, about why your mascara transfers, because I think a lot of people aren't really aware and they just think that all mascaras do that on them, and you know, they can never find a mascara that works for them. It's so interesting though, because so many different mascaras work differently on different people. If you've got dry skin, maybe you've never had an issue with that, or maybe you have. Maybe you've tried a mascara that's just got like a high oil content or wax content or clay content, and it's tricky because I tried doing a bit of research on this and it seems to be to do with the ingredients. And mascaras that have higher levels of oils or waxes, generally those can kind of melt throughout the day with the heat and the warmth of your skin, and the oils from your skin can react with the mascara formula and cause it to actually kind of like melt and transfer onto your skin. Because we don't get the quantities of the ingredients in the mascara, it's so hard to tell which ones are going to do that until you've actually tried them. So for me, the Colossal Bubble original version, it smudged pretty bad on me, which is so unfortunate. I have since tried the waterproof version. This one lasted a lot better, but after wearing it for maybe like 12 hours, I started to get a few little smudges just on my upper eyelids. I didn't get any on my lower, but I did get a few on my upper. The waterproof one worked better, but it still wasn't 100% smudge proof on me. Because yeah, it can still happen with waterproof mascaras, you know? Like yes, water won't break it down, but oil will break down mascara. I love the Maybelline Sky High because I don't find it transfers around my eyes at all. But some people have said to me they find that that one transfers on them. So it's all so dependent, I think, on just our skin type, how long your lashes are. If you've got hooded eyelids, that's going to make the problem worse because then your skin, there's more skin touching your lashes. Just various different factors. And also like what kind of setting spray you use, if you're using a setting spray before or after your mascara. It can be so many different things, but what I will say is I love the way that this mascara makes my lashes look, but unfortunately for me, it's smudged. But there's so many people that are raving about this on TikTok, and there's so many people that I know that love mascaras that I have tried and they've smudged on me, but they've not smudged on them. So if you don't find that you have a problem with your mascara smudging ever, you'll probably be fine with this. But if you do, like me, find that your mascara smudges smudges easily, then you're probably also going to find that this smudge is pretty bad. The final thing that I have, well, not to test because I've used these already, but to rank in the new makeup launches, because a few people that asked me to test these on YouTube. I did do an ad for these over on my TikTok. This is not sponsored. I mean, obviously this video is not sponsored by Maybelline because I'm talking about how the mascara smudges on me. But these are the new Maybelline Lifter Glaze Oil Balms. And obviously I couldn't say this in the ad, but speaking to you guys, not sponsored in this YouTube video, these reminded me so much when I saw them of the Revlon lip butters from back in, it must have been what, like 2014, 2015? I remember being so excited when I was able to get my hands on them, and I had like the bright orange colour. I think I had the bright pink colour. Barely ever wore them, but I was just so excited because I'd seen all the American people talking about them. Then when I saw that Maybelline were launching these, I think I posted on my story saying, oh, they're giving me Revlon lip butter vibes. And I was so excited to try these, and I was like, please don't let me down. And they have not let me down, and I'm so excited because for me, I said this in my ad, and I truly mean this, I think for me, these are one of my favourite lip launches so far of the year. And originally I did buy 2 of them to test in a video. The 2 shades that I bought were Caramel Glow and Berry Haze. And then after I'd actually bought them, literally the week after, Maybelline came in and they were like, hey, do you want to do an ad with them and do like a lip swatch video? But my 2 favourite shades are the 2 that I actually initially bought from Superdrug. I'm just going to use the Lifter liner in the shade Player. Berry Haze is probably the one that I've been reaching for the most. So they have a very subtle, sweet kind of smell. You know, just like the Maybelline glosses, they smell kind of like that, but a slightly more toned down version and a little bit more vanilla-y. They smell nice. So this one is the shade Berry Haze, which is just swatched there. And then this one is Caramel Glow, which actually Caramel Glow is the one that I used in my last video. So if you want to see what this one looks like on the lips, go have a little look at that. That's that one just there next to it. So today I'm going to use Berry Haze, number 7. They just feel like a nice lip balm basically. But then they have that slight pigment to them, but they don't feel sticky at all. I'd say it's like a medium texture, medium thickness texture, but it doesn't feel sticky. They add a little bit of colour, like a little bit of tint, but they just look so juicy and hydrating and they feel really nice. Somebody commented on my Instagram being like, but how do they last though? Obviously, because it's a tinted lip balm, they don't last as long as a regular lipstick. Like if you're eating and stuff, it's gonna come off because it's a shiny, balmy sort of texture. So you will have to reapply it throughout the day. Like if you go and have a sandwich, it's not gonna be there afterwards. But I mean, that's what you get with a tinted lip balm. But I really like them, and especially these 2 shades I've been reaching for a lot. They just feel great. So I'm kind of like, do I put that as the number 1 spot? I mean, I don't actually have anything negative to say about them. I think that might have to take number 1. So this is the finished makeup look. We got there in the end, you know. There were a few hiccups along the way where I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. But now that I'm done, I really like this look. My skin looks so healthy. So my final ranking, I would say, I think there was 9 things in total. Correct me if I'm wrong. God, if I've forgotten something, I'm gonna be so mad. Unfortunately, coming in at the bottom is the liquid eyeshadows from REM. Like, I like Made by Mitchell Drip Drip, but I only used a little tiny bit of it as like a bit of sparkle, and that kind of did work for this one, but it was just too much. Like, they're just a bit too tricky to work with. I have to give my honest thoughts and feedback on these things because I think with people reviewing makeup products, that's how brands can take on the feedback and make improvements, you know? Coming in at number 8 is unfortunately the mascara. I love how this looks on my lashes, but for me it just smudges, which for me is an instant kind of like, I can't wear it. At number 7, I'm gonna put the Skin Ink Found Sealer, whatever this is. I liked how it looked all over my skin. It's just a bit difficult to work with, how it dries down, and then like my concealer went a bit funny on top of it. And I think if this was actually in a bigger bottle and was marketed as a skin tint that dries down, then sure, but the fact it's also marketed as a concealer, for me, just for a concealer, it doesn't really do the job. I mean, I probably would still use it again, but for those reasons, number 7. And number 6, we have got the Curve Cased Pressed. I mean, it's nice, it's just not really something that I think I will use on the regular. I really like this shade as my nose contour, and that was a pretty blush shade, but the rest of the shades just aren't really for me. I'm more of like a satiny bronzer kind of person. At number 5, we have got the Say Dewy Blush. I like this. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. Other than the fact it's marketed as a dewy blush, I would say it's more of like a natural satiny kind of finish. But yeah, I liked it. At number 4, we have got the Urban Decay All Nighter Hyaluronic Acid and Watermelon Fruit Extract Setting the Mist. The only reason why this is not further up the list is because it leaves a slight tacky feeling. And like when I blink, it almost feels like my eyelids are slightly sticking together. But other than that, I really like that. We'll definitely be using that again. In at number 3, we have got the REM Beauty liquid highlighter in the shade Aura. Stunning, but for me it doesn't quite beat the Galinda Glow Drops shade, which is now a different shade on their website. You saw my reaction to this. I really like it. It's just a little bit more of a subtle version. I was gonna say number 2, but you know what? I feel like these two are kind of tied, so I would say like 2 and 3, 3 and 2, interchangeable. The Made by Mitchell Baked Powder. I really like the powder. I like how it set my makeup. I wouldn't say it sets as well as, for example, the Laura Mercier. I feel like the Laura Mercier one has a little bit more of like a gripping, holding power. But that being said, I think for the price, it's a really nice powder. The thing that loses points for me is the packaging. I love how the packaging looks, but it's just a little bit impractical for me. And then at number 1, I'm gonna have to put the Maybelline lip glaze things, just because, yeah, like I said, I don't have any negatives for this. I guess if I had to pick a negative, the packaging is not very like luxurious feeling, like it does feel quite cheap. But then it is cheap, it's like $6.99. So that was me ranking all of these new in makeup launches. Let me know which was your favorite and which was your least favorite. And to finish this video off, I'm gonna answer a question of the day. And if you have any questions, leave them down below with either the hashtag question of the day or just QOTD. Today's question comes from Kimekchen. They have said, hi Soph, question of the day, I'm a 2027 bride and want to do my own makeup. Congratulations, that's very exciting. What look would you do if you were going to do your own makeup? So if you didn't follow me last year, I got married last summer and I did my own makeup, and I have got a few videos on my channel of me doing various makeup trials, like an all drugstore one, and then I did then film the makeup that I actually wore on my wedding day. However, if I was doing it again now, I'd probably change a couple of things. To be honest, I would probably use something like this on my cheeks, like a liquid highlighter to bring back some more glow, because when I look back on my wedding day pictures, my face looked quite matte. And I guess, to be fair, I used a lot of powder because I really wanted it to stay all day, and it did last really well, to be fair, but I probably would have brought in more of a glow with some kind of cream or liquid product. I would have changed my lashes and gone for something more fluttery and like on the outer corners, but I just ran out of time. So what I would say is give yourself plenty of time. Give yourself more time than you think you're going to need if you're doing your own makeup. You know whose wedding makeup I thought looked stunning recently was Demi Lovato. Her makeup artist did such a good job of her wedding makeup. She looked gorgeous. There's so many videos out there now, not even just my own. Like, I've posted a fair bit about wedding makeup if you search on my channel, but even if you just type in like doing your own wedding makeup, there's so many videos now that can help you. So do a few trial runs, and congratulations and good luck. Right, I'm gonna go get a snack. I'm gonna go get a drink. Oh my god, I genuinely sometimes forget that I have tattoos until I do this. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, that'll make me smile, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!